Okay. Whew, I'm taking a break right now, but I want you guys to know just how hard I've been working. You can tell from this that I've been writing pretty much all day. I started at about noon. Yeah, and I've been putting together a post. And while I've been putting it together, I've been kind of clarifying my thought process and why I'm doing what I'm doing. As always, I'm a little disappointed that all the ideas in my head aren't something I can like put really succinctly and eloquently into a single thread of working on it, but it's okay. I got some really good stuff in there, some very useful stuff, and hopefully there's enough in this that you guys can kind of replicate my thinking and my technique here. The idea, what we're going to wind up with, is supposed to be very simple, like a very small amount, a minimum viable product of what you need to make a Yellow City-esque hex crawl that works really well with a game like mine, where you have a lot of like high-powered characters, and City Conquest kind of always has to be on the table. Now, I'm doing a minimum viable product here. The reason for that is because I want to show GMs that they can do this. They can have an idea or even just a blank hex and the want for a city in that hex, and they can take that and with just a little tiny amount of brainstorming and just a little bit of inspiration and this method, they should be able to not only make a really vibrant city, like a place that has its own culture and its own like distinct social strata and places that have a function and have like some like personality to the different neighborhoods, but they can do all of that in this really tight, really easy way, and they can do it quickly. They can get their ideas down quickly, and then when they run it, that this turns into basically an infinitely re-explorable city that you could also conquer. And if you choose to keep putting more onto this like framework here, you can do a lot more than the minimum viable product maybe necessarily implies. Like for example, a thing that I'm not exploring is if you took all these districts and this info you had here and you decided to make a full-blown domain out of this and use the methods in the Lone Wolf Fist book for domain level play, trickling down and creating scenes for the forthcoming campaign arc. I am not really going through how you would do that with this. You can. All you do is you just take these different districts and you take the leaders and make actions. You use these as nodes and then take actions with them. And then that would create a set of scenes that would then apply to and happen within these districts. And all of that would, you could translate that into the encounter chart for the next arc of your campaign. So I'm not going to go through how to do all of that with this, but you can with the tools that are in Lone Wolf Fist. So if you do want to take this really basic framework and the important thing here is to fill it out completely and make something that's complete and works on this level, and then as the need or your own desire arises, taking that bedrock and transforming it into something that creates more content. But the really important thing I wanted to do today was I wanted to get this method, this process done and show you my thinking about how I built this process and how you can replicate it and why you should replicate it. And also give you this process and also give you Radical Ink, which is the Urbancrawl that I've been planning and working on that drove me to innovate this particular thing in the first place. So that's like a threefold content right there. It's the movie and then the making of and the director's commentary, right? I'm giving you all that today. So that's my big project. And because it's a lot, because all of that is its own thing, you can tell how much I've been writing here. This is the director's commentary. This is me talking about what I did and why, but I'm also developing it as I'm thinking about it and writing this down. I'm finding the stuff that I found the most useful out of these three particular inspirations. The Alexandrian Thinking About Hexcrawls series of articles, Bornheim the Complete City Kit, and the Yellow City from You and Soon the Purple Land, which I thought was incredibly evocative. And I keep coming back to it as like the example of the kind of vibe that I want a city to have in my games. I think it's kind of like the sterling example of a city that doesn't feel like it feels big and mysterious, right? And like a place you can explore infinitely. And it feels vibrant and like it has a reality to it. It's really like the perfect example. And I'm shocked, like I'm actually shocked at how little there is for it. I reread literally everything in Yoon Suin, my copy of the first edition of Yoon Suin, and I got all the art I could for it, and I sat myself down. I was like, okay, so all I've got to do is replicate this, and I will have replicated the Yellow City, easy peasy. So what did he do when he was putting this together? And when I really got to thinking about it, it was almost nothing. It's such an amazing trick that he's able to pull, that this like it's this whisper of a design technique was able to make something so big and alive that I've used in so many campaigns. It's breathtaking. So yeah, it inspired me. I of course want a little more than he gave us, because I think it's really hard to replicate the particular genius of writing that was required to make the Yellow City the Yellow City. But you can replicate the technique when you ballast it with a few other little tricks from these the thinking of these other articles and the tools that are already extant in the game. You wind up getting something that is a little easier for a dullard like me to replicate. And if I can replicate it, that means that pretty much anybody could, right? I'm a really good low bar. This is the benefit of being a dummy, is when you're dumb, and you're making something for other people, you can... the great thing about being in this hobby especially is I can almost guarantee that all of my customer base are smarter than me. So that's great. Because that means that any tool that I make that I can use, I can be 100% confident that you guys can use. It's pretty nice, honestly. Anyway, oh man, I go all over the place in this little article that I'm putting together. But the end result will be very nice and speak for itself. Right now, what I'm doing, and I'm taking a little break because I'm getting a little frazzled and I want to get some more tea in me before I get too much further. I might actually get another coffee. I've drank 3 cups of coffee today, and I might drink one more. I'm really excited. I got a new kind of coffee today. But what I'm doing right now is I'm going through this article, I'm going through my own mental notes, and I'm writing down, like, okay, what are these things I'm asking them to do, and how is Radical Ink going to use? I'm basing it off of Magnificent Ink from Legends of the Woolen, by the way. But what is Radical Ink going to look like? What's it going to be whenever I'm writing it down? And I've already got a little bit of stuff that's going to wind up in it. But I also want to make a little kind of template for you guys. And I'm going to put it up, I'm probably going to put it up here. But you know what, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a PDF of it and make it like a pay what you want, like I do with the character sheets. And that way you guys can just print it out on your own, and if you want to give me $1, that's awesome. And if not, that's cool too. I'll put it up on the Patreon, and I'll probably, and I'll send the link around to all of my violent sages, because I know they're always hungry for new ways to make stuff for their games. And I want to do that so you have like a little form basically you can fill out. So the great thing about forms and like character sheets and things like that is that whenever you got a character sheet in front of you, even if you don't feel particularly inspired for a character, you can just kind of start doodling in different parts of them. Like, oh, I bet this guy would have charisma of 12. He would be a little charismatic, but maybe he would be really dexterous. I'll give him dex 16. What an acrobat. You know, like stuff like that. Or if it's a White Wolf game, you can like start moving dots around. And all of a sudden you can kind of organically feel a character rising out of those things. And I don't really... I feel like, as a person who preps content for games pretty consistently, sometimes I'm not feeling it, I don't have a great idea, but having a method can kind of give rise to something that's still usable in a game, even if I'm lacking in inspiration, which we all lack in inspiration sometimes. So I like that idea. I also like the idea of organizing one's thoughts into something that's very usable at a table, and this is certainly meant to be that. I want this to be a single sheet so you can take in the whole city at a glance and very quickly be like, okay, here's the districts, they're in this district, what's there, Where are they going to fight? Is there a fight breaking out? What kind of groups are there? What are some general facts about the city? Like, I'd like to have all of that stuff. And right now, I'm just thinking about, okay, bare bones minimum viable product. What else do I need to bring into a city to make it as good as the urban crawling experiences that I've had using the many methods I've used over the years to do urban crawls? And I'm thinking about it. That's where I'm at right now. I need to get through this last little bit, and then when that's done, I'm going to finish up the article. And when the article's done, next thing I'm going to do is make my little chart, and I'm going to just try to fill out that chart with the minimum viable radical ink, my minimum viable city, and I'm going to post that up to be the complete bit of this article. I also might create a version of this article and put it into the product that has this in it, the pay what you want, just so everybody can kind of see what the hell is this dude talking about. I think that'll probably be a good. That'll be a good. That'll be a good. I think that's a good idea. Anyway, so that's my plans for today. I am. Oh, do I want more caffeine? I'm pretty caffeinated. You know what I do. I really do. I'm excited about this new coffee. But I wanted you all to know what I was doing. I'm a busy beaver today, and my break is, of course, me working more. Man, you can tell I'm an American, huh? Anyway, folks, thank you very much for your time. I'm going to let you get back to your lives. Look forward to having this hopefully by the end of today. See you then.